Been working on this for a long time. The largest crowd I ever had was 10 people, so this is pretty good. And that was because 4 of them got lost and came to the wrong room. John, thank you very much for your kind words. Shelby, thank you very much for what you've done. Sandy Jolly, are you here someplace? There's Sandy. Sandy and I have a long-standing, very strong relationship. We're friends. Politically, we haven't always agreed, but most of the time. And she's been a great advocate for good causes. Lou, would you grab that thing, Mackenzie? Thank you. And one day, I got a call from Sandy. This was 22 years ago. And she said, I watched the most horrible thing on television, and I want you to watch it. She said, it'll probably make you sick, but do it anyway. So I did it, and it did make me sick to my stomach. Little girl in her white dress. It was a festive occasion, she thought. She was 9 years old. Cutest little girl. And the party ends, the good part of it. And a couple of men grab her, and a woman, they spread her legs, and they proceed to whack her genitals. They mutilate the little girl. Blood running down her legs. You can see it pooling as it runs down her little tiny legs. You know, it's 22 years ago. I can still see that. And to think that happens all over the world today, 22 years later. Millions of young women like Jaha have been mutilated. You know, we kind of, this is easy, FGM, not, it's easy. But they've been mutilated. And I'm leaving Congress after 34 years. I feel pretty good about what I've been able to accomplish. You know, in Nevada's public lands, I started with a few thousand acres of wilderness. Now we have 5 million. Solar energy, we have millions of solar panels in Nevada. It's wonderful. Anyway, I feel good about stuff that I've been able to work on. But I feel a total failure with this. After 22 years, nothing. I'm glad people are all this happy talk, but nothing. I frankly have gotten no help in the Congress. We passed a few bills. We'll talk about those, and they're better than nothing. But it's nice we're here meeting. I'm glad. Few people for a change. But this isn't anything that can wait. Our government has been a total failure. The United States of America is a big, powerful nation that is concerned about human rights. How about rights of girls being mutilated every year? Where are we? We've done nothing. I'm glad to see that Secretary Kerry's going to try to get some money. Finally, 500 million? I don't know where they'll get that through all the Trump stuff, but we'll see. But of course, it was kind of difficult, as Jaha said, for me to do something. I brought my staff in. They looked at some of this stuff. Not some of this stuff, they looked at it, a little girl. And I said, you know, I have to try to do something. They said, Senator, you can't do that. It's something for women, it's not for you. And I acknowledge that. It'd be better if I had all my senators. When I came to Congress, when I came to the Senate, there was one, Barbara Mikulski. Now we have 20. This year, 4 brand new Democratic senators. That's wonderful. But Frankly, you've heard it before, if not me, who? So I did it. It wasn't fun for me to publicly talk about something like this, but I did. But it didn't get as much attention as it should have. Our government, I repeat, has done a pittance. They've done basically nothing. Because they talk about it, and I'm glad they're talking about it. But we need more than talk. The agencies have addressed this on an ad hoc basis. What does that mean? Temporary. Nothing permanent. No plan. I repeat, if this is not an issue of human rights, there's nothing in the world that does involve human rights. If this doesn't need human rights, you know, I don't know, and I hope nobody feels I'm being gross on this, but what would happen if a report came that 200 million men had one of their testicles removed? Okay? Now you could do that. You could have people hold down little boys, and you could do it without anesthesia. It would hurt like hell, but you could do it. One testicle's all. It would heal, and you would still be able to procreate, not very well, but you could still do it. So what would happen if we learned that 200 million men were now living a life having had a testicle taken from them when they were a little boy? Would we be concerned? A lot more than we are now, because this only affects little girls. I don't want to be a downer on this, but I just want to know I am totally concerned about nothing having been done on this. Sure, I may have introduced legislation that's against the law for somebody under 18. You can't leave the country to do the cutting. You know, we got a few things going on. I tried to get something done, and it was in existence for a little while, that the World Financial Organizations wouldn't loan money if this was something going on in one of the countries of the world, but that went away quickly. We can't do that. A few weeks ago, I traveled to Salt Lake City. I took my non-Mormon person who's worked on this, Mackenzie Bennett, and we met with one of the apostles of the Mormon church. We met with other leaders of the church. One that was his responsibility is Africa, where the Mormon church is growing rapidly. And I asked these assembled big shots of the Mormon church. And by the way, Sandy Jolly was there, a member of the Mormon church, to put out a edict saying you shouldn't do this. This is wrong. There is no longer the time for niceties. This is mutilating little girls. I'm terribly disappointed that religions around the world have been silent on it, basically. And so I'm confident and hopeful that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormons, will do something about this publicly. And it's wonderful to call attention to this. It really is. Because most people don't know that it exists. And people who are faced with this, they think it's some kind of fake news that's coming out. But it's not fake, it's real. And everyone has to talk about this. They have to talk about it in the local government, state government, and the federal government. And do whatever we can, as the ambassador indicated, through the United Nations to focus attention on this. I hope that this conference will cause people to feel engaged and to not be embarrassed and to charge forward. Not only work with Congress, and we're way behind. I'm disappointed, as I said, after 22 years, this is what we've accomplished. It's not very much. And I would hope you would all force my senators to do something about it. We had a good meeting, one of the best meetings we had. Shelby and Jaha were there. We had some women senators, Democratic senators, to come and talk. And I hope that someone will pick up the mantle of this thing, because the mantle that I have is not very heavy to carry, because we've accomplished not very much. But we need something done. Also, I would tell everyone here, don't just limit what you're doing to Congress. I repeat, there's no reason that state legislatures can't be heavily involved in this. There's no reason that local governments can't pass ordinances to disallow this. Sandy and I have worked and gotten a few resolutions in the state of Nevada through the legislature, better than nothing, but a little message, better than nothing, but not much. So I appreciate the nice things that people have said about me, but I really wish that I'd feel better about what I've been able to accomplish in this regard. I hope on the outside, I'll be out of Congress after all these many years, and it's something that I have been gratified to be able to do. Someone of my background to be able to have been involved in Congress as I have for all these many years is really speaks well of our country. And I'm glad about that. But what has been unaccomplished here with mutilating little girls, I don't feel good about that. Thank you very much, everybody. And there could be no better place to start this activity. Institute of Peace. Wow.